very common question that clients ask me is, Mike, can I travel to the United States with a criminal record? Well, first of all, that's a very loaded question, and our firm does not purport to be experts on U.S. immigration and border law, but I'll give you some generalizations about the U.S. border law and give you a few tips on that. First of all, at the border, they define crimes as either crimes of moral turpitude or non-moral turpitude. In other words, crimes that don't involve moral turpitude. Let me give you some examples. A crime of moral turpitude is like theft, assault with a weapon, drug offenses, offenses of dishonesty, those type of offenses. The Immigration Act of the states clearly says that you're not going to get admitted to the states if you have committed a crime of moral turpitude in Canada. Then there's a whole laundry list under their Immigration Act, the U.S. Immigration Act, about crimes that don't involve moral turpitude. And currently, and I say currently, that's a real caveat, impaired driving is not a crime of moral turpitude. You should be able to enter with impaired driving. That's currently, at least. The law could change at any time. Assault, that's a simple assault where there's no bodily harm, will it will also allow you to enter. Here's the difficulty, though. The border guards are not trained lawyers or judges. So you show up at the border and they're going to have you on the Canadian, they've got access to our Canadian computer. It's called CPIC, the Canadian Police Computer, with all the information about your record in it. And they're going to ask you questions. You better truthfully answer those questions, by the way. They have access to it. If you lie, they could make you inadmissible just for that. Border guards make mistakes, unfortunately. I've seen situations where they've refused people for a DUI where they shouldn't, or simple assault, and you're going to have to clear that up with a lawyer. What we advise clients in this situation is, first of all, they should probably retain an expert, at least talk to an expert, because we don't purport to be experts. I've read about it, I've consulted with experts, but our firm restricts our practice to criminal law. We're not border experts. But that's a rough breakdown of what you're going to face at the border. Tell the truth. Another thing is, they don't recognize conditional discharges. Conditional discharge is a Canadian sentence where you're not convicted, you don't have the record, but the U.S. considers that a record. So if you got a conditional discharge or theft, you're probably not going to get in. Another piece of advice I should offer you is that if you have been convicted of a crime of moral turpitude, I would consult with an immigration lawyer before you cross the border. You don't want to be in a situation where you're detained for hours, or worse, find yourself under arrest and deported, and hours of embarrassment with your family at the border. So perhaps an immigration lawyer could apply for a waiver in advance. So it's a tricky situation. Border guards do make mistakes on occasion. By and large, they're pretty good and know the law, but I've seen it happen, and then you're going to have to hire a lawyer to clear it up.